Hey, it's Suraj Gokani from Currencies for you, and today I've had the pleasure of being joined by Simon Denton, Managing Director of the Sovereign Group here in the UK, who has been speaking as a keynote today also on a panel at the Portuguese Investor Forum with the Portugal British Chamber of Commerce here in the wonderful Cavalry and Guards Club in central London. So, Simon, we've had a fantastic day and it's been a pleasure hearing your wonderful insights.
Likewise.
You've been helping so many private individuals and corporate entities relocate into Portugal. And I think you made some fantastic points today with regards to the visa, the new rules and regulations, and what the differences are. And I really want to share those with the audience because I think this really needs to be highlighted. So if I could I'm very mindful of your time, so thank you for joining us. But if you could just share those insights with us, that would be fantastic.
Excellent. You're very welcome, and it's great to be part of your organisation. But there's been a growing trend of UK taxpayers, resident individuals seeking to move overseas, not just for tax purposes, but for lifestyle, for family, and for their own entrepreneurial and business reasons. Portugal offers a unique opportunity. Portugal has created what's now called the NHR version 2, which is a sort of the Portuguese NHR version 2 is a sort of tax positive landscape pathway. So on the basis that you are entrepreneurial, perhaps running a business, managing someone else's business, or wanting to create a business in Portugal, which will cause you to relocate to Portugal, the consequences of that is Portugal is very, very welcoming of SMEs, larger corporates, and you could take advantage, a business owner, an entrepreneur can take advantage of the Portuguese corporate landscape by being part of the NHR regime, which gives some amazing sort of tax planning opportunities and tax saving opportunities. The individual can be exposed to just 20% personal taxation on Portuguese sourced income. But when they qualify for this regime and sell their own business back home, there's no capital gains tax in Portugal under the regime. Furthermore, once you've settled in Portugal with the new regime, there is no tax on dividends, no tax on loan interest, no tax on property rental, no tax on royalties. But what Portugal is offering is it's attracting entrepreneurials, business owners, directors, key staff wanting to relocate to Portugal. So get on that NHR pathway, which is what Sovereign UK undertakes with our 38-year-old office in Portugal. But aside from the NHR routing, the great pathway for the super tax measures, just a couple of hours flight away, the individual and family that relocates with their company or someone else's company needs to apply for a particular visa, which often is a D7 visa, which gives you the rights of residency. After 10 years, you can get a Portuguese passport. After 10 years of not living in the UK, your inheritance tax falls away on non-UK assets. But even if the UK is kept and a Portuguese subsidiary is formed pursuant to this NHR and D7 visa, dividends that the individual and family receive is not exposed to any taxation in the UK because you're non-resident, and in Portugal, they don't tax dividends under the regime I've talked about. No tax on royalties, no tax on rental income, 20% tax on Portuguese sourced income. So Portugal are welcoming of active entrepreneurial individuals, families. NHR is the tax pathway. The D7, sometimes the D2 or D3 for executive and different employment for a company or for someone else's company, gives some tremendous, exciting opportunities, Portugal is one of my favoured EU nations to migrate to continue a business, enjoy the lifestyle of Portugal, and everything that goes with living in Portugal, from the young children attending school to university and beyond, and attaining a passport after 10 years. That's what I was focusing on today in the panel discussion, which seemed to go down quite well.
It went down very well, and I think you had some great insights, and that was reciprocated by so many of the audience. In a sentence, D7 visa, who is it applicable for? What's the main benefit?
It's not just the pensioners and someone picking up a pension, soft income. It's for entrepreneurs that can reorganise their corporate arrangements with perhaps a Portuguese company, being a subsidiary of a UK company, but dividends are not subject to tax in Portugal under this regime. It's 40% in the UK. When you sell a company or your overseas company in the UK, you're normally subject to 24% if you stay in the UK. In Portugal, under the regime I'm talking about, no taxation, soft or no tax on royalties, loan interest. It really is some, you don't have to live in the Cayman Islands to enjoy the tax benefits that I've been talking about. They naturally apply to Portugal, member nation of the EU. The 640 years of reciprocity and business engagement that the UK has had with Portugal, as His Lordship announced today, along with the ambassador and the chairpersons of the Portuguese Chamber, that must stand for something. And the business between both countries are prosper. But at the moment, the net beneficiary of United Kingdom's tax reforms is Portugal and a lot of other countries.
So Simon, one final question for you. One of the points that I loved most about what you alluded to today was that golden visas, as we know, are in high demand, and there are people moving to various different geographies around the world in demand for golden visas and status. Now, just like gold has 24 karat, 22 karat, 18 karat, you made an analogy earlier with respect to golden visas having the same hierarchy and status. Where would you see Portugal in that hierarchy?
Excellent question. There used to be, quite a few years ago, there used to be plenty of countries promoting golden visas. Some of the countries have dropped away, perhaps because of an abuse of privilege, attracting the wrong clients. Simply, the golden visa program had spiked property prices to the disadvantage of the indigenous population. But the golden visa of Portugal sits, in my view, towards the top of the Premier League. Number one, it gives the non-EU national, I don't just mean British, the non-EU nationals, the right and access visa-free to Schengen countries, and there's 29 now. It gives you the right and access to live, retire, work and study in Portugal. But at the same time, the qualification period of stay is only 7 days a year, followed by the next 2 years or the successive 2 years of 14 days inside the next second and third year. Aside from Great Britain, there are nationalities and people placed or resident in different parts of the world, and they can't take for granted political stability, compulsory purchase orders of assets, political uncertainty, risks that we simply do not have in certain parts of the Western world, including England and Portugal. So golden visas is a safety net, a plan B, just in case that particular person has to move out of the Middle East, of an Asian country, or perhaps an African country for their own reasons and the good reasons, or elsewhere in the world. So golden visas do play a part, but in Portugal, they've attracted the right quality and candidate of an applicant. It applies to their family, so Portugal is very much in favour of family unification for that one spouse and children, minimum stay requirements, visa-free access. 500,000 euros is typically the minimum investment, but they've taken out the property criteria because...
And this is something that happened in 2023?
That's right, because the property, a lot of people came into Portugal, enjoyed the holiday homes and their secondary residence, and the prices spiked and increased beyond normal inflationary measures, and that had an impact on the local population who couldn't afford their particular home that they were saving up for. So nowadays, the investment criteria is more on job creation, investing in companies, investing in markets, investments or contributions into investment funds. So the property side has dropped away. It's less soft. It's a little more specific. There's a little more risk involved, but it is attracting the right sort of person. And normally a golden visa is a stepping stone to perhaps more permanent residency elsewhere. Then they could qualify for a D visa. And if they bring their business into Portugal, they can get that ICIFI version 2 NHR. So it's a good stepping stone for a future in Portugal, which actually can lead to a passport after 10 years. That's the routing, and golden visas in Portugal, with perhaps Greece down the Premier League, but not too far down the Premier League, and certain other countries. The research, the due diligence and compliance that you should undertake with your experts in country means you should come up with a bit of a short list of 2 or 3 countries, but Portugal will always be on my short list.
Simon, thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
From the room that I was in today, let me tell you now, it wasn't people's plan B, it was people's plan A to move to Portugal. Simon, you was fantastic today. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
And it really was a pleasure to have you.
Likewise, thank you.